Women and weight training. Is there a risk of gaining too much muscle? What other things can consistent training give but strength and fitness? Is scaling just cheating, or does it actually make sense? Let's find out.
Welcome to Scale to Fit, Fit in your 50s. Just show up, make a plan, feel stronger than you can. Small steps lead to victory, you're rewriting history. Scale to Fit, Fit in your 50s with Marko Lindgren. Come on and join us.
I took my microphone out for a walk and talk about strength training and CrossFit for us grown-ups, especially for the ladies in their 50s. With me walks Yvette Luna Ostermann, the owner of CrossFit F2 in Munich, Germany. She has a diverse sporting background, and a bit over 10 years ago, she and her husband founded their own CrossFit box. And for CrossFit, very clear is what I like to say, don't do nothing, do something and scale it back. First, I wanted to know how Yvette started doing CrossFit.
Actually, I was in Amsterdam and a friend of mine posted something on Facebook and I saw it. This is going back 2009. And I sent him a message and said, what is this? He was in a competition. He said, it's CrossFit. So as soon as I got back to the States where I was living, I looked up the nearest CrossFit and went to CrossFit. And my husband then was my boyfriend. We joined immediately. Yeah. So that was 2009.
Why was that?
I've always been physical and active in sports. And this was something that was completely new to me. And it filled everything that I liked because I love gymnastics, I love weightlifting, I love cardio. So which has, everything in CrossFit. So it was immediate. And then we did CrossFit. We live in Florida, by the way. We lived there for 2 years and then we moved here to Munich.
Right.
Yeah, and then we were here a year. We were going to CrossFit Munich. And one day we walked out of CrossFit Munich and I wasn't working. I'd been here for a year already. And I looked at my husband, boyfriend at the time. I said, let's open a CrossFit.
Box.
Yes, a box. and we had already tried to plan what I was going to do here because of my lack of German and really not knowing what I wanted to do. And the fact that I love CrossFit, it felt right. It felt right to do that. Because at the time, I think there was only 3 boxes in Munich. We would have been the 4th. Yeah. And we looked at the map where the 3 were and went out far away from them, out west, where there was no boxes.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
What kind of a background did you have? Because you said you're sporty and active, but what other things did you do before?
Well, I ran track in high school, and I just always worked out. I've always liked to be active. It's just, I lived in California, and then from California I went to Florida, which everything is, outdoorsy in California and Florida too. And I always just had friends who did nothing. I never really did anything competitive, but I just like to be physical. And I always like to weight train, which is a big part of my life still. I think weight training is so important.
Yeah, we'll get to that a bit later. So now you have been doing CrossFit for decades, basically.
Yes.
You can call that, even though neither of us is old. So what has it given to you after all this time? What have you gotten out of it?
It's just part of my life. It's like you wake up, you have a cup of coffee, you eat breakfast, you CrossFit. It's a routine. It's part of my life. I couldn't imagine not doing it, and I cannot imagine not being it such a big part of our lives. I mean, we own the box. Our community is because of CrossFit. Because if I didn't have CrossFit, I wouldn't have a community that we have right now, which is really good. It took a while to get it, but we have a good community. So it's life for us.
That's a topic of growing up. I like to call it growing up rather than growing older. So for women, there's certain changes like menopausal things. How does it change? How does training change? And
yes, training does change when you grow up. Your mind doesn't change, but your body does. Of course, I go in there and I want to do the same things I was doing when I first started CrossFit, which I can't do anymore. I can't, my miles take a little longer. But you just adjust. You adjust to it, and you have to really listen to your body. At this age, when you're younger, you can be sore and not be able to walk because you're so sore. But now it's like, you're not just sore, your back hurts, or your knee will hurt, or your shoulder will hurt, So you really, I believe at this age, you really have to pay attention to what your body's telling you. It's really important.
Yeah, I have noticed myself that it takes like 2 days to recover.
Yes.
But usually earlier it took like half a day or so.
Well, and also I think supplements is really important too at this age. You have to take your fish oils and your multivitamin and, whatever you lack. Because, it's important to know what you're deficient in too, vitamin-wise, which it's an easy test. You take a blood test, and it's good to know that.
You got your child
my second baby.
Your second baby. Slightly older than usual.
Yes, yes.
And why do you think that is?
Well, we had tried to have a baby for years, and we gave up. And then I was about to turn 50, and I know the cutoff for IVF is 50. Like, a lot of places will not take your case. So I told my husband, we need to do it now or never. So we found a really amazing clinic in Madrid, Spain, that took us, because we went to get basically interviewed, and took us. And I was 50 when I got pregnant and 51 when I had her. And every doctor that I talked to, even my GYN, was amazed how easy my pregnancy was, how good it was. And I believe 100% is because of CrossFit, that I was able to have such an easy pregnancy and a healthy baby and a recovery, which was most important, the recovery after having a baby at 51.
So CrossFit didn't only support your fitness, but it also supported your...
It prepared
for
my body for that, yeah.
Let's talk a bit about weight lifting and weight training, and especially for women.
Yes.
But the thing is that often women are sort of afraid that their muscles grow, and they become like hunks, and that's not very ladylike, is it?
Yeah. I get that a lot. I've gotten those so much, women walk in, they're like, oh no, I don't want to look like a man. And then I have to explain, well, unless you have testosterone like a man, you can. So, to me, women training at our age, my age, is so important because we are going through menopause. We don't produce estrogen. Our bone density starts to go, muscle loss. And with weight training, you keep the bone density, you keep the muscle, which is also important for when you get older and you want to be independent. When you want to grow old and be independent, if you don't weight train, you can't be. If you weight train, you can be independent. That's my goal, really, to be independent when I am older. And my second daughter is young still.
Yeah, right. So it's basically like use it or lose it.
Yes,
situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's about weight training. So what about, especially if we talk about CrossFit, how does it benefit for grown-up ladies?
I think the reason why CrossFit does work is because it can be scaled. Everything that we do is scaled to your level of fitness. Not everyone that walks in can do, or not every girl or woman can do pull-ups or dips or push-ups. So everything is scaled to your fitness level. For example, if you can't do pull-ups, you do, ring rows. So same thing with the weights. Everything is scalable for the women.
So let's say that you're a woman over 45, around 50, and you want to start with CrossFit. What are the important things that you should pay attention to?
So what we have at our box is we have an on-ramp program, which you start with us, and it's 2 weeks of learning how to scale for your level, because we don't just throw the people on the floor day one and they have no idea what
and the weights.
Yeah, and then what to do. So on the on-ramp, which my husband's in charge of, you're taught how to scale everything. For example, there might be somebody who even comes in with a shoulder injury who can't do a strict press with a bar. So we teach them that with a dumbbell. So each side works independently. So that's why I think if you are going to weight train 45 and 50, that you should either hire a trainer, a professional trainer, or you should CrossFit at a box that teaches you the fundamentals before you start.
Yeah, but when I did CrossFit, I was sort of surprised how easy the moving the weights is after you learn the right technique.
Yes, so
and
important.
how enjoyable it can be.
And our box, we're really strict about that. People will come in, they're like, no, I've been doing sports for 20 years. I know this stuff. And we were like, okay, well then show us this.
Yeah.
And they say, how do you do that? I'm like, those are the movements you do here. So it is important that you take the on-ramp first so that you learn. And you also learn what you're capable of in CrossFit to begin with.
Yeah. And I also noticed that when now I did some CrossFit moves with weights, with barbell. So I noticed that maybe I don't remember exactly anymore. The muscle memory is somewhat there, but it's not totally there.
It takes a while. What we do too on day one is after you're taught the basics, air squat, push-up, and ring rows, we do a workout, including some, if it's nice weather, there's running included. If it's ugly out or cold, you do the bike. So you do the workout and you have your time. And then the last day of on-ramp, you do the same exact workout. And to this day, we have had every single person improve their time in just 14 days.
Yeah.
So
that's quite amazing.
It is because it is just your body adapting that quick. It's 3 times a week, the on-ramp, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then, so the first Monday you do the workout, and then the last Friday of the second week you do it again.
Yeah.
It used to be 3 weeks. Over the years we squeezed it down, and in those 3 weeks, those improvements were 2 minutes sometimes. People would improve their time by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, because it was more than just 14 days.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah.
And I think that's really when people notice that if you're consistent, which is the most important thing, if you're consistent with something, you improve.
Well, what about people like I used to be? I have started to train for running, but I never liked to run, and that was the most unpleasant thing for me.
We have people that don't like to run. We have people that can't run because of some injury. So we scale instead of running, then you row, a low impact. You can either row on the rower or you do the bike. Some even jump on the treadmill inside.
Right.
So yeah, everything, like I said, is scalable to your fitness level.
Hey, just a quick note before we continue with the show. If this episode resonates with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And now, back to the show.
The Good to Know Corner.
So, talking about scaling once again. But this time, let's dig a bit deeper and take a more granular look. For me, it has taken quite a while to get rid of the whole idea that scaling would somehow be cheating. You know the situation, be it in a CrossFit box, a group fitness class, or an online program. The moment someone, maybe you, swaps out the weight for something lighter or replaces a movement with a simpler version, you can hear this little voice saying, "That's not doing the real thing, that's cheating." But of course it's not. From the exercise science perspective, scaling isn't a compromise, it's often the most intelligent thing you can do. At its core, scaling is about matching the dose, the amount of exercise, to the individual. Same goal, different prescription. And that principle, that training must fit the person, not the other way around, is one of the foundational pillars of exercise science. The American College of Sports Medicine, which is essentially the gold standard body for exercise guidance worldwide, is very clear on this. Resistance training should always be applied in the context of the individual's goals, current capacity, and training history. Not a one-size-fits-all number on a whiteboard. So, when a coach looks at 2 people doing the same workout and suggests different loads, different movements, or different rep counts, they are not lowering the bar for one person. They are making sure both people are training at the right relative intensity for where they are right now. And then, the goal of any well-designed workout isn't to complete a specific set of reps. The goal is to hit a stimulus and cause adaptation. Work hard enough, but not so hard it would break form or recovery. The workout is the vehicle, the stimulus is the destination. And the whole point of scaling is to make sure you arrive at that destination, even if the route looks a little different from the person next to you. If your weight is so heavy that your technique falls apart after the second rep, you are not doing a strength workout anymore. You are doing a struggle session. The stimulus is gone, the risk goes up, and the adaptation you were actually after, nowhere to be found. Scaling the load down, finding the weight where you can move well, work hard, and still have 1 or 2 good reps left in the tank, that's not giving up, that's precision.
Yes!
Your body's capacity to train varies from day to day. Sleep, stress, nutrition, even the time of day, all of it affects how you perform and recover. Then we are talking about autoregulation, the foundation of scaling. So when you walk into the gym on a rough Tuesday having slept 5 hours and feeling like you have eaten sand, should you really be hitting the same numbers as you did on a well-rested Friday? The answer is no. And autoregulation, also known as scaling, is how you honor that reality. There are a couple of concepts that help to put this into practice. One is called the RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion, and the other, the close cousin, RIR, reps in reserve. Basically, instead of chasing a number, you target a relative intensity. How hard is this? How many more reps do I have left before I can't do another? This approach lets you train at the right intensity for today's body, not some theoretical average on who you are on your best days. When applied to movement, scaling gets particularly interesting for anyone who's working on building new skills, coming back after time off, or managing an old injury. When you simplify a movement, say doing a ring row instead of a pull-up, or a goblet squat instead of a barbell back squat, you are not doing a lesser version of the exercise. You are following a completely sound principle from motor learning. Get the mechanics right first, build consistency, then add intensity. That progression, mechanics, consistency, intensity, is one of the core coaching frameworks in functional fitness, and it holds up under scrutiny. You cannot reliably improve at a complex movement by grinding through it with bad form under load. What you can do is build the foundations, gradually layer in complexity, and arrive at the full version with a body that's already ready for it. That's a long game, and the long game is exactly what we are playing here. So let me bring this all together with a simple framework, quite an elegant one if I may say so. Good scaling works through 4 questions. First question, what is the stimulus today? Is it strength, power, aerobic capacity, skill development? Second question, what's the movement version that lets you express that stimulus safely and with solid technique? Third question, what's the load, reps, or time that puts you at the right effort level for that goal? And fourth question, how does this progress over time? Because the whole system only works if there's a plan to gradually increase the challenge as you get stronger, fitter, and more skilled. Answer those 4 questions and you've got yourself a prescription, a personal, evidence-based training plan that happens to look like scaling. So the next time you are in a session and the coach says, hey, let's scale that for you today, you will definitely hear it differently. It's not a consolation prize. It's not a sign that you are behind. It's a sign that someone is paying attention and that the workout is being built around you, not the other way around. That's intelligent training.
The good to know corner.
Then let's talk about a little bit about your training philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So you already mentioned that you have everything scaled and basically, podcast name is Scale to Fit and this is a perfect match in that sense. But not all the boxes do that. So where does your philosophy comes from?
It comes from CrossFit's methodology. It's what we practice, what they preach, what we preach.
Yeah.
You know, we think it's important, and the reason that we think it's important is because when we travel, we visit boxes, we go to other boxes, and we see sometimes the people's form and how awful it looks and how scary. And with all that, if you're moving weight around and your form is not good, what happens?
You break yourself eventually.
You get injured.
Yeah.
And then you talk bad about CrossFit and you don't want to ever do CrossFit again, and then you lose members. So we always try to avoid that by teaching people how to move correctly. Yeah, so my philosophy is keeping the form right. Its form is function. It goes in line together. You can't move weight incorrectly for a long time and not get injured. It also goes with we do kipping pull-ups. You know what that is? The kipping pull-ups, which is
you basically take like extra speed for that.
Yes, but with that, you also have to have the strength to do the pull-ups. Like I'll have members come to me and they'll, Yvette, teach me how to kip. And my first question is always, how many strict pull-ups can you do? Oh, I can't do one. I said, okay, when you have 3 to 5 strict pull-ups, come back to me.
Yeah.
Because with that, if you're doing the kipping and you don't have the strength, what happens? You get injured. Your shoulders will get blown out. So that to me and to my husband, we've always practiced that, and we teach all our coaches that.
Then you already mentioned that training is like a part of your life. It's part of your daily routine, which is very important when it comes to all kinds of things that you want to do continuously. But if you take that routine part away, what would you say is the founding motivation there?
I would say is to stay healthy, to be independent in the future. That for me is very important, to stay healthy. I mean, it's not just training. I mean, it's just not just that you go and train. You also have to be aware of your diet, which is also very important. That's training is like 50% and diet is like 50, or maybe even like training is 40 and diet is 60. What you put in your body is really important too. So, yeah.
Okay, so 2 recommendations from you. First, how to keep motivated, like anybody else. How to find the
How to stay motivated?
Stay motivated, or stay do. Okay, if it's a habit, then you keep on doing it. But how to stay doing it?
To stay motivated is what I would recommend is how they feel. How do you feel after doing it? How do you feel when you're not training? I know the difference.
Yeah.
So that to me, I always try to motivate people with that. It's like, unless you're sick, stay home if you're sick, but come in if you're feeling bad, like you're depressed or happy, not happy, all that. You work out, you instantly feel better. I can't name a time that I didn't work out and didn't feel better unless I was, physically getting sick. But to me, as motivating people was like, you will feel better, you feel better, And if you work, let's say, I get off of work and I don't have time, I have to go home. Yes, you have time, because you either can do it before work, or you can do it at your lunch break.
Yeah.
Or you could put your gym bag on in your car, and go straight to work out and then go home.
Yeah.
So I always tell my girls when they are training, how do you feel? I ask them, how do you feel? Oh, I feel great. And it's like, how's your clothes fitting? Is it fitting better? Oh yeah, perfect. And to me, I don't believe that you should ever own a scale. I think those things should all get thrown away, because when girls weigh themselves before CrossFit, they can be, let's say, 130 pounds. What is that? 60 kilos. But then you start training and your muscle gets denser, the weight goes up. And you're like, I'm gaining weight. No, you're not gaining weight, you're gaining muscle.
Yeah.
That's like, I always ask, how's your clothes fitting? That's important, not the scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I noticed myself also that that kind of thing that drove me to walk, and now doing something more is also that I feel better after that walk. And also, if I don't do it, I feel like somehow anxious or restless.
Yes. It helps balance everything that's going on with women hormone-wise. Yes, because when I did go through the menopause, I was feeling a little different, And I was still working out, but I didn't feel better. So I went to my doctor and she recommended I do hormones, which was the worst choice ever. I tried it for 2 weeks and did not feel like myself at all. So I stopped that immediately and just went and changed my training a little bit to a little bit less cardio and a little bit more weight training, which it used to be the other way around, you know. Because of my age, I've read that at this age, the cardio shouldn't be like when you were 20, 30. Even though your body doesn't let you do it that fast anymore. And that, you know, and the weight training is more important at this stage of my life.
Right. And the second advice you mentioned about the food, and it's important what you eat. So what is your philosophy on eating the stuff you put in your mouth?
If it has more than 3 ingredients on the package, or even 2, don't eat it. It should have. I mean, to me, when I shop on the outside. You know, every store will have their fruit and vegetables, their meat, their dairy, you know, their cheeses. And in the middle is always the processed foods.
Yeah.
So even in the States, and here too, a lot of the stores, they do that. They have all the fresh produce, all the fresh meats, you know, on the outside. And then the inside is the stuff that you limit yourself on. So I think it's important that if you want to see results when you're training and feel better, you really have to pay attention to I don't even like to call it a diet, because I don't want to say to be on a diet. It's just watch what you eat, you know, up your protein a little bit, you know, more vegetables. And I believe you need carbs. This whole no carb,
yeah, absolutely.
I can never live like that.
Yeah, carbs is the brain food.
You need it. And there's, you know, like we all know, there's simple carbs and there's complex carbs, and you want to be eating more complex than simple.
Yeah, like less sugar and
Yes, so it's really important. I mean, I love to cook. I love to bake. I bake a lot now because of my little one, because I like to control the sugar, you know. And
yeah.
I mean, you can put stuff that substitutes for sugar. I mean, it still has its natural sugar in it, like dates, and she thinks it's wonderful.
Weekly challenge.
If you haven't already done so, go and check out your nearest gym or box, book a trial class, and get a proper feel for the place. It might make you feel better than ever before. And remember what I like to say, don't do nothing, do something and scale it back.
Welcome to Scale to Fit, Fit in your 50s.
And I am Marko Lindgren. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. All sounds are made by me except the jingle that was made by Gemini. Send us your feedback via email to feedback@scale2.fit or leave a rating at podchaser.com. Check show notes at scale2.fit. All the links are there.
Scale to Fit!